This video is about the mother was mocked but a businessman built her a home. If this story inspires you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. In the heart of a bustling city, where the noise of honking cars and chattering crowds seemed never-ending, a small park served as an oasis amidst the concrete jungle. It was here, on a humble bench, that Clara sat, cradling her worn-out handbag. Her eyes, deep set with worry, scanned the park, where children played and laughter filled the air. Clara was a single mother, struggling to make ends meet. Each day, she juggled multiple jobs while searching for a place to call home. Her son, Ethan, an 80-year-old with a heart full of dreams, deserved more than the cramped apartment they shared with another family. Clara longed for a space where Ethan could play freely, where they could build memories instead of just surviving. "Mom, look!" Ethan called out, pointing toward a group of kids flying colorful kites in the gentle spring breeze. His eyes sparkled with joy, and Clara's heart ached. She wanted to give him that happiness, a place that felt like theirs, a sanctuary where laughter would echo off the walls, not just in fleeting moments. "Let us get your kite, buddy," she smiled, masking her exhaustion. They wandered toward the nearby store, where the vibrant colors and familiar scents of childhood filled the air. Clara's heart swelled as Ethan twirled in delight, clutching the bright red kite. Yet, with each passing day, Clara felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. The mocking whispers of others crept into her mind, taunting her with thoughts of inadequacy. "Why can't she provide for that boy?" they would say. "Just another single mom looking for handouts." These judgments stung, yet Clara pushed them aside. She was determined. Every evening, after long shifts at the diner, she would return home exhausted, but the sight of Ethan's smile reignited her spirit. "You're my superhero, Mom," he would exclaim, wrapping his arms around her. In those moments, Clara found strength she didn't know she possessed. One chilly evening, Clara had just finished cleaning tables when she saw a familiar face. Mark, a successful businessman, frequented the diner for dinner meetings. His presence was often accompanied by an air of confidence, but tonight he appeared contemplative, lost in thought. Clara had admired him from afar, knowing he was a man of influence in the city. "Good evening, Clara," he greeted, his voice warm. "You look tired. Long day?" "It's just another day in paradise," she joked lightly, though her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Mark noticed something in her demeanor. "You be doing an amazing job, balancing work and being a mom is no easy feat." "Thank you, but some days it feels like I am barely keeping my head above water," Clara admitted, her vulnerability creeping into her tone. "Well, I admire your determination," he replied, sincerity evident. "If you ever need help or resources, don't hesitate to ask." Clara nodded, appreciating his kindness but brushing it off as a polite gesture. Life had taught her to be cautious with hope. But as days turned into weeks, the brief encounters continued, and Mark became a familiar face. They exchanged stories. Clara shared tales of Ethan's antics, while Mark spoke of his philanthropic efforts and dreams for the community. One day, after a particularly grueling shift, Clara hesitated before leaving. The diner felt like a second home, but she yearned for something more. As she stepped outside, the chilly wind embraced her as she caught sight of Mark walking toward her. "Hey, Clara, I was just about to head to the park. Want to join?" he asked, his tone casual. "Sure, why not?" Clara said, trying to suppress her surprise. The park was a haven for her, filled with laughter and dreams. She hadn't expected to share it with someone like him. As they walked, Mark spoke passionately about urban projects and community endeavors. Clara couldn't help but be inspired. She opened up about her struggles, her dreams for a better life for Ethan, and her desire to create a loving home. "I can see the fire in you," Mark said, nodding with understanding. "Your love for your son shines through everything you do. It is inspiring." Clara felt her cheeks flush. She had shared her heart with someone who had truly listened. "Thank you, but it has hard some days. When I see other families, I wonder if I am enough for Ethan." "Being present is what truly matters. Your love and commitment are what he will remember," Mark reassured her. And for the first time in a long while, Clara felt a glimmer of hope ignite within her. Days turned into months, and their friendship blossomed. Mark often brought gifts for Ethan, a soccer ball, art supplies, or a book. Every gesture was met with boundless gratitude from Clara, but she remained cautious. She knew things like this didn't come without strings attached. One evening, after an intense day, Clara received a knock on her door. It was Mark holding a large box. "I've got something for you both," he said, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Curiosity piqued, Clara opened the box to find a beautiful handcrafted wooden kite. "It's amazing," Ethan exclaimed, his joy radiating through the small apartment. "I thought you both might enjoy a kite-flying day at the park," Mark suggested. "What do you say?" Ethan's eyes lit up. "Can we, Mom, please?" "Of course, honey," Clara replied, her heart warmed by the genuine kindness. As she watched Ethan run around the room with the kite, she felt a sense of community forming, something she had long yearned for. That weekend, they ventured to the park. The sun shone brightly, and the laughter of children echoed around them. Clara watched as Ethan ran with the kite, feeling the wind lifted higher into the sky. Mark stood by her side, an encouraging presence. "Look at him go," Mark said, a smile playing on his lips. "You're doing a great job, Clara." "Thank you, I am trying my best," she replied, feeling the weight of her struggles momentarily lift. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue across the park, Clara felt a surge of gratitude. Maybe, just maybe, she could create a better life for Ethan. Hope was beginning to blossom, but she knew that with every new beginning came challenges. The weeks turned into months again, and Clara discovered the depth of her resilience. She applied for grants and attended workshops that Mark had suggested, learning about business management and personal finance. She was determined to rise above her circumstances, to build a life for herself and Ethan. But with each small victory came setbacks. Bills piled up, and Clara faced discrimination when searching for affordable housing. "You're just a single mother, why should we rent to you?" the landlords would say, their dismissive attitudes cutting deeper than she cared to admit. Every rejection chipped away at her spirit, but her resolve remained unshaken. She would return home, exhausted yet inspired by Ethan's unwavering support. "Mom, you're my hero," he would say, reminding her of the strength she carried within. One evening, while preparing dinner, Ethan burst into the kitchen. "Mom, guess what? I told my teacher about that guy. She said we should have an art show at school, and I want to make a kite for it." Clara's heart swelled with pride. "That is a fantastic idea, sweetie. Let us get started on it." As the two sat together, crafting their creation, Clara realized that no matter the challenges ahead, they would face them together. And in this journey of resilience, she was building more than just a career, she was creating a foundation of hope and love. Yet, life often has a way of testing even the strongest spirits. One fateful day, Clara received a call that would change everything. She was being evicted, the landlord claiming she hadn't paid rent despite her diligent efforts. The news felt like a punch to the gut, and Clara's world began to spiral. "Mom, what is wrong?" Ethan asked, sensing her distress. "We'll figure it out, buddy. We always do," Clara reassured him, though uncertainty loomed heavy in the air. The next day, Clara met Mark for coffee, and as she shared her troubles, she could see the concern in his eyes. "You're not alone in this," he said firmly. "You've got support, and I am here to help." Clara hesitated, unsure of how to accept assistance. "I don't want to burden you. I am used to doing this alone." "Sometimes allowing others to help is a strength, not a weakness," Mark reminded her gently. "Let us find a way to get through this together." With renewed determination, Clara took a deep breath, realizing that accepting help was part of her journey. She would not let the world's judgments define her or Ethan. And so she started to confront the obstacles ahead, igniting a fire within her that would prove unyielding. As hope began to flicker back to life, Clara and Mark made a plan and a strategy to find a permanent home, to stabilize their lives, and to create a future filled with promise. Little did she know that this was just the beginning of a remarkable journey, one that would test their hearts but ultimately bring them together in ways she couldn't yet imagine. In the face of adversity, Clara felt a renewed sense of determination. She had always been a fighter, but this time she stood on the threshold of something bigger. With Mark by her side, she prepared to tackle the impending eviction and the uncertainty that loomed over their heads like dark clouds ready to burst. On a brisk Saturday morning, Clara and Mark sat across from each other at a small cafe, steam rising from their mugs of coffee. The scent of fresh pastries filled the air, but Clara's stomach was tied in knots. "I don't know where to start," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've applied for so many places, but it feels like I am running in circles." Mark leaned forward, his eyes steady and reassuring. "Let us break it down. We can start by reaching out to local housing resources. There are organizations that specialize in helping single parents find affordable housing. You're not alone in this." Clara nodded, feeling a flicker of hope ignite within her. "I guess I've been so focused on what I can do that I forgot to ask for help." "Remember," Clara, asking for help doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're strong enough to acknowledge you can't do this all alone. Mark's voice had a soothing quality that eased her tension. With a determined spirit, Clara began to research local resources. Together, they reached out to non-profits that offered assistance and guidance for single parents. It was a grueling process, filled with paperwork, phone calls, and meetings, but Clara felt a renewed sense of purpose. For Ethan, she would do anything. Days turned into weeks, and with Marquez's encouraging presence, Clara navigated the labyrinth of housing applications. She found herself in community workshops, where she learned the ins and outs of tenant rights and the importance of advocating for herself. With each lesson, she grew more empowered. However, life threw curveballs her way. Just when she felt she was making progress, the eviction notice arrived. The landlord was adamant, and Clara's heart sank. "I can't believe this is happening," she said, tears brimming in her eyes as she sat across from Mark in the cafe one afternoon. "We will find a way, Clara," Mark insisted, his voice steady. "Let us gather the documentation, and I'll help you appeal this. You have every right to fight this." Clara felt a swell of gratitude for his unwavering support. "Thank you, Mark. I don't know how I would manage without you." "Teamwork makes the dream work," he replied with a grin, lightening the mood just a bit. As they dove into the paperwork, Clara felt the weight of her circumstances lift slightly. She was turning despair into action, fueled by her love for Ethan. She could almost envision the brighter future. They were fighting for a home where they would thrive. But the challenges were relentless. The days of waiting for responses felt like an eternity. Clara often found herself staring out the window, watching families stroll by, children laughing, and couples holding hands. Each moment of joy around her felt like a reminder of what she was missing. "Will we ever have that, Mark?" she asked one evening, her voice trembling. "Absolutely," he replied without hesitation. "It might take time, but with your spirit, I have no doubt you'll provide that for Ethan." And then the breakthrough came. Clara received a call from a local housing organization. They had an opening, a 2-bedroom apartment in a neighborhood that was safe and welcoming. "You've made an impression with your application," the voice on the other end said. "We believe you would be a great fit for our community." Clara couldn't believe it. "When can I see it?" she asked eagerly. "Tomorrow morning," the woman replied. That night, Clara barely slept. Excitement mingled with anxiety as she wondered what this new chapter would bring. "Tomorrow, Ethan," she whispered softly, glancing at her sleeping son. Tomorrow could change everything. The next day, Clara and Mark drove to the apartment. As they stepped inside, Clara felt her heart race. The space was bright, with sunlight pouring through the windows, illuminating the entire living room. "It's beautiful," Clara exclaimed, her voice filled with awe. Mark smiled as he watched her face light up. "It's perfect for you and Ethan." As they explored each room, Clara imagined Ethan laughing and playing, envisioning birthday celebrations and simple family dinners. "This could be our home," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "Yes, it can be," Mark affirmed. "Let us get the paperwork started." The journey was far from over. Clara navigated the application process with a mixture of hope and trepidation. She gathered all her documents, her heart pounding with every step. "What if they reject me again?" she asked Mark one evening, anxiety creeping in. "Then we'll keep trying. Rejection is just a step along the path to something greater," he assured her, unwavering in his belief. Clara found comfort in his steadfastness. Finally, the day came when she received the news. "Clara, congratulations, you've been approved for the apartment," the woman on the phone exclaimed. Clara felt as if the world had shifted. Thank you so much," she cried, overwhelmed with joy. She hung up the phone and danced around the small living room where Ethan stood watching, eyes wide with excitement. "Mom, what is happening?" "Ethan, we have a new home," Clara shouted, tears streaming down her face as she enveloped him in a tight embrace. "We can finally have our own space." Ethan squeezed her tightly, his tiny body vibrating with joy. "Can we paint the walls blue and hang our kites by the window?" "Absolutely." Clara laughed, her heart soaring as she savored every moment of pure happiness. The move was hectic, filled with packing boxes and endless trips to the new apartment. But amidst the chaos, Clara felt a sense of purpose. She was building a life, brick by brick, and with each box unpacked, her dreams became more tangible. On the day they officially moved in, Clara stood by the window, looking out at the bustling neighborhood below. Mark stopped by to help, laughing as he watched Ethan run around with glee, claiming his new territory. "Look at him," Mark smiled. "He is going to thrive here." I can't believe we finally did it, Clara replied, her voice filled with wonder. Thank you for everything, Mark. I truly couldn't have done this without your support. Mark shrugged humbly. You did the heavy lifting, you believed in yourself and in a better future for Ethan, that's what matters most. As they settled into their new home, Clara felt the heaviness of her past begin to fade, replaced by a growing sense of hope. She decorated the walls with Ethan's artwork and the kite they had made together, each piece a symbol of their journey. One evening, sitting at the small dining table, Clara and Ethan shared dinner, laughter echoing off the walls. This is home, Mom, Ethan said, his eyes sparkling with joy. Just like I imagined. Yes, it is, buddy. It's all ours, Clara replied, her heart swelling with gratitude and love. With time, Clara established a routine that allowed her to balance work and parenting. She was gaining confidence in her new role as a businesswoman, and Mark continued to mentor her, helping her navigate the world of entrepreneurship. It wasn't easy, but Clara's determination fueled her every step. Months passed, and the seasons changed, but Clara's resilience remained steadfast. She enrolled Ethan in local activities, ensuring he had opportunities to grow and flourish. As she watched him thrive, she couldn't help but feel an immense sense of pride. Then one sunny afternoon, Clara received a phone call that would change everything once again. Clara, this is Amy from the local business incubator, the voice on the other end said. We were impressed by your application and would love to offer you a spot in our program. You have a remarkable vision. Tears filled Clara's eyes as disbelief washed over her. Thank you, I can't express how much this means to me. Your passion for community is inspiring. We believe you can create something impactful, Amy continued. Clara hung up, unable to contain her joy. She rushed to Ethan, who was coloring at the kitchen table. Ethan, guess what? I am going to start my own business. Ethan's eyes widened with excitement. Really? That's amazing. Mom, what will it be about? I want to create a space where families can come together, share stories, and build memories like we're doing now, Clara said, her heart brimming with hope. In that moment, Clara realized how far she had come. From the depths of despair to a life filled with purpose, she had carved a path paved with resilience and love. The journey had not been easy, but with each challenge, she had emerged stronger, fueled by her desire to create a brighter future for Ethan. As they sat together in their cozy home, the laughter of children filling the air outside, Clara looked around at the walls that held their memories, and she knew that no matter what lay ahead, they would face it together. And that was the beauty of the human spirit, the ability to rise, to dream, and to inspire one another along the way. As the days turned into weeks, Clara's excitement for the business incubator program grew, filling her with a renewed sense of purpose. Ethan, ever her little cheerleader, was just as enthusiastic as she was. Mom, when can I help you with your business? He asked one evening, his eyes gleaming with ambition. Clara chuckled, ruffling his hair. Well, my partner, I think we have some brainstorming to do first. How about we make a list of ideas together? Ethan nodded, his small face lighting up with determination. They huddled around the dining table, where Clara laid out colorful paper and crayons. What do you think people need most? She began, her voice filled with excitement. How about a place where kids can play and parents can relax? Ethan suggested eagerly. And we can have art supplies and a library. That's brilliant, Clara exclaimed, her heart swelling with pride. We'll create a safe haven for families, a place where everyone feels welcome. With each idea they sketched out, Clara felt the weight of her past lift a little more. She imagined families gathering, children laughing, and her vision slowly taking shape. But with every burst of inspiration came the gnawing fear of failure. What if she couldn't make it happen? On the first day of her business incubator program, Clara walked into the large conference room filled with hopeful entrepreneurs. The ambience buzzed with excitement, but her heart raced with anxiety. You've got this, she whispered to herself, recalling Mark's encouraging words. The facilitator, an accomplished businesswoman named Amy, stood at the front, radiating confidence. Welcome, everyone. We're here because you have a dream, and we're going to help you turn that dream into a reality, she said, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Clara felt a surge of hope. Perhaps this was the opportunity she needed to transform her vision. Over the next few weeks, she immersed herself in workshops, learning everything from marketing strategies to financial planning. Each session unveiled new layers of knowledge, and she began to see the pieces of her dream falling into place. Despite the overwhelming workload, Clara made it a priority to spend quality time with Ethan. They crafted kites on weekends and explored the park, sharing dreams and laughter. You know what, Ethan, one day, we're going to have our own space filled with laughter and creativity, Clara said during one of their outings. Like a big adventureland? Ethan's eyes widened with excitement. Exactly, a place where kids can imagine and parents can connect, Clara replied, feeling the energy of their dreams intertwine. However, as the program progressed, Clara was met with challenges that tested her resolve. The financial aspects of running a business loomed large, and Clara often found herself wide awake at night, staring at the ceiling, anxiety clawing at her. What if I can't make enough money? She muttered under her breath. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, she sat on the couch, her mind racing with doubts. Mom, Ethan asked, peeking around the corner. Are you okay? Clara forced a smile, brushing away the tears that threatened to spill. Of course, sweetheart, just thinking about how to make our dream come true. Don't you worry, Mom, I believe in you, Ethan said, his small voice filled with conviction. You're the strongest person I know. His words washed over Clara like a warm embrace, rekindling her determination. Thank you, buddy, that means the world to me. Days turned into weeks. Clara learned to navigate the complexities of budgeting and marketing, but the financial pressure persisted. One afternoon, she sat across from Amy, pouring out her concerns. I feel like I am drowning in numbers, and I am terrified I won't succeed. Clara, listen to me, Amy said, her voice steady. Every successful entrepreneur has faced challenges, and it's those challenges that shape you. You have the passion and the vision. Don't let fear dictate your path. Clara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of Amy's words. You're right, I need to believe in myself as much as I believe in this dream. With renewed determination, Clara dove into her business plan, pouring her heart and soul into it. She worked late into the night, driven by the thought of creating a space where families could connect. But as the deadline for the pitch approached, Clara stumbled upon a significant hurdle. The financial projections were daunting. Clara, we need to address the gap in your funding, Amy pointed out one afternoon, her tone serious. What are your thoughts? I've been considering a crowdfunding campaign, but I am afraid people won't take us seriously, Clara admitted, anxiety bubbling to the surface. I trust in your story, share your vision, and people will connect with your passion. You have a compelling narrative, Amy encouraged. With Amy's support, Clara crafted a heartfelt crowdfunding pitch that resonated with her journey as a single mother. She spoke candidly about her desire to create a nurturing environment for families, emphasizing the importance of community support. Mom, can I help? Ethan asked, his eyes wide with enthusiasm. Of course, let us make a video together, Clara suggested, and they spent the day brainstorming ideas, laughing as they filmed. When the campaign launched, Clara felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. She shared their story online, and within a few days, support poured in from friends, family, and even strangers who resonated with their journey. Look, Mom, more people are joining us. Ethan squealed, jumping up and down as new donations came in. Clara's heart swelled as she witnessed the community rallying behind them. Each contribution was a reminder that they were not alone, they were part of something bigger. Yet, even with the support, Clara knew they still faced significant challenges. As the deadline for the final pitch approached, Clara felt the pressure intensifying. What if it's not enough? What if I fail? She worried aloud to Mark one evening. Failure is just a stepping stone, Clara. This journey is about growth, not perfection. You've already accomplished so much, Mark replied, his voice calm and reassuring. On the day of the pitch, Clara stood in front of a panel of investors, her stomach twisting into knots. You've got this, she whispered to herself as she adjusted her notes. Hello everyone, my name is Clara and this is my son, Ethan, she began, her voice steadying as she spoke. We're here to share a dream of creating a space for families to come together to play, to learn, and to grow. As she spoke, Clara saw the investors leaning in, captivated by her passion. She poured her heart into the presentation, sharing her vision, the community support they had garnered, and the impact they hoped to make. When she finished, Clara held her breath, waiting for their response. The panel exchanged glances, and finally, one investor spoke up. Clara, your vision is powerful. We see the potential here, and we were impressed by what you've accomplished. I am so grateful for the opportunity, Clara replied, her heart racing with hope. Let us talk about next steps. Another investor chimed in, and Clara felt the surge of relief wash over her. After the pitch, Clara and Ethan walked home hand in hand, the evening air cool against their skin. Did you see their faces? Mom, they liked it. Ethan exclaimed, bouncing with excitement. They did, didn't they? Clara replied, her heart full of gratitude. We might be one step closer to making our dream come true. Weeks later, Clara received the news she had hoped for. The investors were backing her project. She could hardly believe it. "Mom, we did it," Ethan shouted, his joy radiating through their small apartment. "Yes, we did, buddy," Clara said, tears of joy streaming down her face as she hugged him tightly. The journey was far from over, but Clara felt emboldened by the support of her community and the love of her son. As they began to lay the groundwork for their family-centered space, Clara realized that every struggle had shaped her into the person she was becoming: a resilient entrepreneur, a loving mother, and an unyielding dreamer. Through each challenge, Clara had learned to embrace vulnerability, to accept help, and to believe in her vision. And as she stood in the empty space that would soon become their haven, Clara knew that the story was just beginning, a story of hope, perseverance, and the undeniable power of the human spirit. As the sun rose on a new day, Clara stood in the empty space that would soon house her dream. The walls were bare, echoing the hopes and dreams she had nurtured for so long. The vision of families bustling in and out, children laughing, and creativity flowing filled her mind. She could almost hear the excitement mingling in the air. "Mom." Ethan's voice rang out as he raced into the room, his small feet pattering against the hardwood floor. "Can we paint the walls today?" Clara turned, her heart swelling with joy. His enthusiasm was infectious. "Absolutely," she replied, a smile breaking across her face. "What colors do you think our family center should have?" "Bright colors, like the kites we made," he shouted, his eyes sparkling with energy. "Yellow, blue, and maybe some red." "Okay, let us start with yellow for the kids' corner," Clara said, already envisioning the vibrant space they would create together. "And maybe blue for the main area. It can be calm and inviting." Ethan nodded eagerly. "Can I help paint?" "Of course, you'll be my assistant," Clara said, reaching down to ruffle his hair. "But we have to wear old clothes." As they gathered old shirts to protect their clothes, Clara felt the familiar mix of excitement and anxiety. This project was not just a business, it was a tangible representation of their journey, a place that would symbolize resilience and hope. But with every brush stroke, doubts began to creep in. What if they couldn't maintain it? What if she couldn't deliver on her promises? "Mom." Ethan's voice broke her reverie. "Are you okay?" Clara took a deep breath, forcing a smile. "I am great, buddy. Just thinking about how amazing this place is going to be." Ethan picked up a brush, his little hands clumsy but eager. "I can't wait to play with all the kids here." "I can't wait either," Clara said, her heart warmed by his excitement. "We're going to create a wonderful community space where everyone feels welcome." As they painted, the laughter and joy filled the empty room, drowning out Clara's fears, if only momentarily. But as the day wore on, reality began to settle in again. They would need furniture, supplies, and a way to sustain themselves financially. The initial backing from the investors was a blessing, but Clara knew it wouldn't last forever. Later that evening, as Clara tucked Ethan into bed, she paused. "Sweet dreams, my little adventurer," she whispered, planting a kiss on his forehead. "Good night, Mom. I believe in you," he murmured sleepily, and Clara's heart swelled anew. Those words echoed in her mind as she sat at the kitchen table, staring at her business plan. The numbers seemed to dance mockingly before her eyes, the projections and budgets looming larger than life. It felt overwhelming, and Clara felt the familiar weight of doubt creep in. "Breathe," she whispered to herself, forcing herself to focus. One step at a time. With determination, she opened her laptop and began researching local businesses, studying the strategies, and finding inspiration in their stories. She was reminded of her journey, the nights spent juggling jobs, the sacrifices made for Ethan, and the unwavering support from friends like Mark. Mark had become more than just a friend, he had become a mentor, a guiding light in moments of darkness. He understood the pressures of entrepreneurship and often checked in on her progress. Just last week, he had brought her coffee and encouragement, reminding her of her strength. The phone rang, pulling Clara from her thoughts. It was Mark. "Hey, Clara, how's the painting going?" he asked, his voice bright and friendly. "We finished the first coat today. Ethan was a great help." Clara replied, her smile evident even through the phone. "But I am feeling a little overwhelmed with everything else." "I get it. That's a big undertaking, but remember why you started this," Mark said, his tone steadying. "You're rebuilding something amazing for your community and for Ethan." "I know, but the financials are daunting. I am starting to question if I can do this," Clara admitted, her voice quavering. Doubt is part of the process. Don't let it overshadow all the hard work you've already done. You're resilient, Clara. You've faced challenges before and come out stronger. Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate your support, Clara said, her heart feeling lighter. Let us grab lunch tomorrow. I can help you brainstorm ideas for fundraising and marketing, Mark suggested. Sounds great. I could definitely use your expertise, Clara replied, her spirits lifting. After they hung up, Clara felt a renewed sense of purpose washing over her. With help, she could find a way to navigate the financial hurdles. She began jotting down ideas for fundraising, community events, workshops, and possibly reaching out to local businesses for collaborations. The next day, Clara and Mark met at their favorite cafe. So, what is the game plan? Mark asked, leaning forward, his eyes gleaming with excitement. I was thinking we could organize a community picnic at the park. We can charge a small fee for fruit and games, maybe even set up donation stations for the center, Clara suggested, her voice steadying as she shared her vision. I love it. A picnic would bring the community together and create buzz around your family center, Mark replied enthusiastically. We can reach out to local businesses to sponsor games or provide food. With each idea they exchanged, Clara felt her fears begin to dissipate. They spent the afternoon brainstorming, developing a timeline for the picnic, and preparing marketing materials. The enthusiasm in the cafe was palpable, and Clara couldn't help but feel energized by Marqu's presence. As the weeks passed, Clara put her plan into action. The community picnic became a focal point for her efforts. She spread the word through social media, local flyers, and word of mouth. Every night, she and Ethan worked together to prepare, crafting colorful banners and flyers. Mom, can I make a poster for the picnic? Ethan asked one evening, his eyes wide with excitement. Absolutely, you can be our official artist, Clara declared, her heart swelling with pride. Ethan spent hours creating a vibrant poster filled with balloons and sunshine, and Clara's heart danced with joy as she watched his creativity blossom. On the day of the picnic, the sun shone brightly, illuminating the park filled with laughter and activity. Clara set up a booth with information about the family center, sharing her vision with anyone who stopped by. Hey, Clara. Mark called as he approached, carrying a tray filled with delicious snacks. Ready for the big day? I think so. I am a bit nervous though. That is normal. Just be yourself and share your passion. People will connect with your story, he encouraged. As the day unfolded, the park buzzed with energy. Families arrived, children laughed, and the aroma of grilled food filled the air. Clara felt invigorated as she engaged with her community, sharing her goals and vision for the family center. Can we donate to your center? The kind-faced woman asked, her eyes filled with sincerity. Absolutely, every little bit helps us create a safe and fun environment for families, Clara replied, her heart racing with gratitude. By the end of the day, they had raised enough money to cover some initial costs and gather support from local businesses. Clara felt a rush of hope, and as she watched Ethan playing with his friends, laughter ringing out around them, she knew they were building something special. Weeks later, as they finalized preparations for the opening of the center, Clara felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. Mom, can I help you with the opening day? Ethan asked, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. Of course, you can be my special assistant, Clara replied, a wave of warmth enveloping her. On opening day, the center was transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors, laughter, and love. Clara stood at the entrance, welcoming families as they arrived, her heart full. Thank you for being here. Welcome to our family center, she greeted, her smile brightening the room. As the day unfolded, Clara caught glimpses of Ethan mingling with other children, confidence radiating from him. Mom, look, I made a new friend, he shouted, his face beaming with joy. Clara felt a wave of emotion wash over her, tears threatening to spill as she witnessed the community coming together. She had built this space with love and resilience, and it was thriving. Finally, as the day wound down, Clara stood outside, gazing at the sunset painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. Mark joined her, a satisfied smile on his face. You did it, Clara. You turned your dreams into reality. I couldn't have done it without your support, Clara said, her heart overflowing with gratitude. You were the one who put in the hard work. You showed everyone the power of perseverance, Mark replied, his voice warm and reassuring. In that moment, Clara realized the journey was not just about building a center, it was about community, connection, and the unwavering strength of the human spirit. They had faced challenges, fears, and setbacks, but through it all, Clara had emerged stronger and inspiring force for her son and her community. As the stars began to twinkle,